Over the last four weeks, we see the equivalent of 4 million ounces of gold being bought by one entity. So when we talk about reasons to own gold, well, the dollar petro status is in jeopardy, privacy is in jeopardy, taxes are going higher, we're being lied to with numbers coming out of the CPI. Big whales are standing for delivery off of COMEX, huge deliveries. It's all accelerating. All the things we've been talking about for a year are accelerating, and one day, done again, one day, sadly, I think we'll all wake up to a new reality.
This is Dunnigan Kaiser, founder of Liberty and Finance. I'm now a licensed gold and silver broker for Miles Franklin. Call me directly for the physical gold and silver that you need at the best price with personalized private service from one of the oldest and best companies in the business. For fastest service, just call 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 888-81-LIBERTY. And either I or one of my sons and fellow brokers will call you back as soon as we can and understand your needs. Welcome back to Liberty and Finance. We have a returning guest. Andy Schectman is the CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals. He joins us this Tuesday, August 14, 2021 for a weekly market update. Andy, thanks for coming back on.
Always look forward to these Tuesday updates with you, Dunnigan. It's always nice to see your smiling face.
We've got a lot to cover today, so we're going to have to do it pretty fast. One of the things I wanted to kick off with, maybe it just has to set the tone to help lead you into some things that you've got insights behind the curtain. And that's that I've been getting just an enormous increase over the past 2 weeks in calls from clients who are very concerned about getting their money out of the bank. Especially, this isn't just like money that they just earned last week. This is like, I want my retirement money out of my 401k. I want my pension money out. I want my big savings account pulled out of the bank. I just sold a house, or I sold a property, or I got an inheritance and I want that money out of the bank. So I talked to Alistair McLeod briefly about that. He says he thinks it's more of a concern people have about the currency itself than perhaps the banking system, but it's just this all-in mood shift. And you've told us time and time again, when you feel it in your gut and you see this mood shift happening in the game, it means something, and it means something big. Can you talk to us about, from behind the scenes, where you're looking at major geopolitical events, financial world events, things that are happening at the sovereign, budget level, and whatever, the things that might be adding up to cause this sentiment shift that's causing people to get out of the dollar?
Yeah, and at first I'd like to just do a shout out to Alistair. I find him, I watch every one of his videos with you, and he's as bright of a mind as there is in this world, and for sure in this industry. So it's nice to hear his take on things. So glad you have him on there. Yeah, Dunnigan, I've always said that you can feel it, even if you can't articulate it. Some of us may be closer to the tracks than others, but I think even diehard dollar and equity bulls have to feel something's just not quite right. And I try to scour the stories and dig deep to find out, I've laid out this linear progression of events I keep talking about, events that are leading to big money de-dollarizing. And not only that, how things may impact what we're doing with precious metals. And I always want to reiterate my take on precious metals is that they are wealth. They're not an investment, although they may perform quite handsomely as an investment would. To me, it's wealth. In a world where finding wealth and keeping wealth, maintaining it, is a lot harder than acquiring it, in my opinion. And so in any case, some of the stories that I found very noteworthy, certainly worth talking about. The first one was the House Democrats proposing a $3 trillion tax increase, including tax increases on small businesses and working families. This is the largest tax increase since 1968 compared to the size of the economy, and the largest tax increase ever in nominal dollars. So this is the same administration, I swore, that said they weren't going to raise taxes on the middle class. But who owns the small businesses? It's the middle class. It's not the very, very wealthy. It's the middle class, the upper middle class. They're the ones that are going to bear the brunt of this. And not only that, when you talk about in this same tax increase proposal, a lot of it is corporate taxes, which there was a study done recently that showed upwards ends of over 30% of all the tax increases to the corporations is funneled down to the end user. So it'll be a tax on all of us, on the middle class and the lower class in particular, when the goods and services that they acquire are all going to trend at a higher price. Maybe more troubling, however, than the increase in taxes, which is gross, but we all knew it was coming, was in this $3.5 trillion budget plan, they want to monitor gross inflows and outflows from Americans' bank accounts and, talk about violating the Fourth Amendment. The proposal would require banks to report inflows and outflows to the IRS, including transactions from and not excluding Venmo, PayPal, crypto exchanges, and the like. And this is, as they call it, in an effort to fight tax evasion. Well, desperate governments do desperate things. We know that. And I think that they are looking for ways to find money hiding under the couch cushions, including hiring, the number was extraordinary. I'm probably going to get this wrong, but I want to say like 40,000 new IRS auditors to go out and just rattle the bushes. When you talk about precious metals being one of the last bastions of privacy, when you see the IRS talking about requesting or mandating all inflows and outflows of money, where it's going, we're this much closer to a digital currency where it will do it for them. But until then, this is the next best thing. It's Big Brother. And when you talk about crypto and everyone thinking anonymity lies behind crypto, think twice. When you think about Venmo and all of these other things, you're not thinking about having to justify it to an auditor, but it appears as though you will. These are scary times, and another reason why finding privacy in a world of decreasing privacy and increased litigation is another real, maybe not talked about enough quality of precious metals. In doing some other digging, I found a few other things I wanted to just mention. I talk a lot about the others, this group, the others. Who the hell are the others, right? The others on the COMEX, who are, we've thought to be sovereign wealth funds, family offices. I talked about 2 Mondays ago or 3 Mondays ago when the price of gold got smashed down, right? And when the price got smashed down at 5 in the morning, in the middle of the night, when London was closed, when New York hadn't opened yet, someone dumped almost $5 billion worth of gold in the access market. Now, this was right at the 200-day moving average. Gold was sitting on the 200-day. They knew if they dropped it hard with momentum, it would push it down the hill and trigger all the stops along the way. See, the big banks know where all the pain points are. They know where all the traders are positioned. So if they push it hard enough with enough momentum, before Wall Street even opens up in the morning, all of these positions would have been stopped out by algorithms that would then say it's time to get out. It's violated moving averages with velocity and time to go. So it triggered it, and gold fell by $100. And when that happened, there was a whale, a very big whale who amassed as much as 40,000 COMEX gold contracts. And this is over the last 4 weeks. So over the last four weeks, we see the equivalent of 4 million ounces of gold being bought by one entity. This is thought to be one of the others. And when we talk about just how big that is, I think it's important to note, and I'll give credit to Ted Butler for this one. We talked about, there was so much talk about this Palantir and that they bought $50 million worth of gold, right? This high-tech data company, Palantir. Just goes to show how slanted the media really is. They talked a lot about Palantir buying gold, but you haven't heard a word about this big whale on COMEX, this one trader, whoever this one group or trader is, that has amassed 38,000 contracts, 3.8 million ounces, which is more than 130 times larger than the 28,500 ounces purchased by Palantir. When we talk about which is more significant, you're talking a massive position. So when we talk about the price being driven down and the price is going down, I will say this to you. Who the heck has enough money to acquire that kind of metal on COMEX? And when you talk about a margin requirement right now, roughly $8,000 to $8,300 for every 100-ounce gold contract you have. And for people who don't understand what I'm saying, if you're a trader on COMEX and you want to buy a contract or sell a contract, you take position in it, you have to have roughly $8,000 to $8,300 in margin behind that position. So that's why the commercial banks can do so much damage. They can control 100 ounces of gold with $8,300 in margin. So if you want to dump a whole bunch of contracts, it doesn't take a whole lot of money if you're a commercial bank. But when you talk about what that margin requirement would be to buy those 40,000 contracts, it's about $330 million. So the bottom line is that whoever this whale is that is standing long, record long, over the last 4 weeks, as whoever it was drove the price down, it's almost like he knew whoever he or she or they were. They're sitting there like this, waiting for it to fall. Come on, drop it. And by $100, they then bought, millions of ounces of gold. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that you need to take a step back from everything that we're seeing, and you need to dig a little deeper and realize that not all is as it seems on the surface. Yeah, the price should be a lot better based upon the condition of the world. But when you have price being controlled by COMEX, it's difficult. What's different is that there's someone on the other side waiting to scoop up all of these naked shorts. And one day we will wake up to a new reality. And I know, as I've said before, the little boy sees the wolf at the end of the story. I know it appears that I'm crying wolf. I know I've been saying the same thing, but it keeps happening with greater frequency. And when you see one group stand for 40,000 contracts, COMEX contracts at 100 ounces apiece, think about how big that is. This is no small deal anyways, and I think it's only going to get bigger. The last thing I wanted to talk about, well, maybe two more as we then get into any questions that you have. I'm beginning to believe less and less and less and less of anything that comes out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I'm sure John Williams would echo that. But today the CPI numbers come out and, they're a little bit less. It was less than expectations for the first time since, I don't know, October or what have you. But what does that mean? Does that mean that inflation really is transitory? Does that mean things are getting better? Or does that mean that the government or the Fed, who knows that they can't stop tapering, that they can't stop asset purchases and stimulus or the whole thing collapses, wanted to present a narrative that things are getting better, that inflation is going away, so that they don't have to start tapering, so that they don't have to stop asset purchases. In fact, the headline on Zero Hedge was ding dong, the taper is dead. Euphoria in stocks this morning, and in gold, really. But what that says to me is that the Fed knows they're stuck. And if they don't continue to buy assets at the clip that they are, 150 billion a month in treasuries and however much in mortgage-backed securities, that the whole thing goes pear-shaped. So I would just like to simply say that I think the numbers that we are being fed have less and less significance. And the last thing I want to talk about, because this all centers around why we own gold, all of this, and silver, is the timing of the 9/11 report that's supposed to be released here very soon. We talk about how significant it is that Saudi Arabia signed a joint military cooperation agreement with Russia, maybe the biggest event ever in relation to the singular dollar world reserve status, or the petrodollar status. Next day, Russia signs that with Saudi Arabia, the two biggest OPEC producing countries in the world. And another here again in Zero Hedge, we see the U.S. is moving their missile defense system away from the Saudi kingdom. And they said they were redeployed, but we don't know what that really means. And, I think the fact that we provide the Saudis with military support and get to value oil in dollars worldwide, that's coming to an end also. So when we talk about reasons to own gold, well, the dollar petro status is in jeopardy, privacy is in jeopardy, taxes are going higher, we're being lied to with numbers coming out of the CPI. Big whales are standing for delivery off of COMEX, huge deliveries. It's all accelerating. All the things we've been talking about for a year are accelerating. And one day, done again, one day, sadly, I think we'll all wake up to a new reality. So with that being said, the floor is yours.
Well, that might explain a lot of the sentiment shift that I'm detecting on the grassroots level. There's been a lot going on in the past couple of months and years, and I think also a lot of people are just seeing this drumbeat of government overreach on restrictions. They're seeing lockdowns exemplified perhaps most dramatically in New South Wales, Australia. They're seeing lockdowns in New York, lockdowns in California, all that sort of thing. They're hearing talk coming out of Washington now about restricting interstate travel, about banning certain classes of people, ordinary people who've done nothing wrong, from being able to fly on airplanes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're starting to think, we better start taking care of business for our family. That's what, our original channel, Reluctant Preppers, was about since 2013. But it's just a palpable sentiment shift in the past 2 weeks.
Really, it is. I agree. Much larger orders than I've ever seen. I think people are waking up little by little by little. There's still a lot of people who believe the popular narrative. But if you really look under the surface and you see the things that are happening on a macro level, what the biggest, most influential money and power players are doing, they're telling a different story. So anyways, yeah, I think that, again, to reiterate, gold is not an investment. Silver is not an investment. They're wealth. They'll perform like one, but they're wealth.
On that note, what do you have that can help ordinary people who want to take their chips off the table and put them in a safer spot to do that we have available to help them make that possible?
Here again, I find it really important to reiterate. Ultimately, I feel, and there'll be some people who I care about a lot, like Vic Swear and Chris Marcus, who would disagree with me on this statement. Okay, so and probably my good buddies at Wall Street Silver, they might disagree with me on this one, but hey, it's still a free country, right? At least we think so. And my opinion is that ultimately we want to be in gold. But when is that ultimate day? It's not yet. Ultimately, gold to me is the place to be because it is being viewed by the wealthiest people in the world as money and accumulated as such. As you can see this person here on COMEX, whoever this person or persons are, buying 40,000 COMEX contracts. But silver is the pathway into more gold. Silver is the buying opportunity of a generation. Silver has more uses and utilities than gold does by a long shot. Silver is bracketed on both sides between demand, between industrial and monetary. And there will be a war before this is all said and done between monetary demand and industrial demand and who gets to get what's left. Silver to me is truly unique in terms of the potential that it offers and the price that it's at. So while we keep presenting silver, I do want people to know that at heart, I'm a gold bull. At heart, I believe ultimately you need to have gold. You do not want to overlook it. You do not want to forget about it. But at a ratio of roughly 75-1, the ability at some point to trade into gold is what I think when that ratio gets way, way lower. Remember, it's coming out of the ground at 7-1, according to Keith Neumeyer, globally priced at 75-1. That's almost 11 times undervalued. You cannot ignore that. And that's why I keep presenting silver options to you and your listeners. This week, I bring three. In order of significance, first, we have 50,000 2021 Austrian Vienna Philharmonics at $3.65 over the price of silver. These are brand new. They're really, really neat coins. They're one of the 6 primary mints. And they don't have Queen Elizabeth on the back of them. If I had $1 for every time someone told me they didn't want to buy a coin with Queen Elizabeth on them, I could probably buy one of these mint boxes. And nonetheless, 365 over spot on those, and those are in stock. Secondly, are the 2021 Type 2 Silver Eagles. I believe this will be one of the lowest mintage Silver Eagle runs ever since 1986. And that's kind of the information that I'm being given out of the mint. And I think this is a run that everyone should have some. I just bought a box of them myself. They are more expensive than most other items. Even if you buy a roll or two, I think it's worth having some of the 2021 Type 2 Silver Eagles. For your listeners out there who don't know what Type 2 means, it means it's the new design. It's been one design since 1986. Now they brought out a new design, the Type 2, and those are available at $7.25 over the price of silver. I've seen many of the online companies as much as $3, $4, $5 higher than that. We're trying to bring the best value to your listeners.
I have to interrupt there because I actually had to convince a referral client who another longtime client of ours referred to us this morning. He called, he said, I think there must be, my friend must have been wrong because he said you guys were selling American Silver Eagles for just a little over $7 over spot. And I said, no, that's correct. They're $7.25 over spot. And I had to work at him to convince him to believe that was our actual price.
Well, it probably, I could certainly be charging a lot more for them, but I was able to secure a lot of them at a good price, and I would rather just pass that on and help people out, because I think this is a series worth owning because of the low mintage. If you look at the 1996 Silver Eagle, it's the same type of thing. They're roughly double the price of all the other Silver Eagles because of that low mintage. And the last one is kind of significant, and I'm going to offer it at the same price of $7.25 over spot, and it could be a lot higher. And that is a limited run of the S-Mint 2021 Type 2 Silver Eagles in strapped boxes. Now, I think I have 70 boxes, and I'm selling them only in sealed boxes. And the reason is that you cannot tell if it's a San Francisco Mint coin if you take it out of the box. The coin does not have an S-Mint mark on it. The only denotation of it being from San Francisco is in the sealed box. The box has the San Francisco sticker, and the box has the San Francisco strap. If you take it out of the box and just sold a tube of it to someone, it would look no different than a normal 2021 Type 2. So if you're going to buy a box of 2021 Silver Eagles, buy the S-Mint, because I guarantee you, if you see some companies online come out with these, they'll be 12, 13, 14 bucks, something like that. It's a very, 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 very limited run. And I bought as many boxes as I can. I think I have 70 in stock, but only buy the box, also at a $7.25 over. It's really probably the most unique silver item that we've had to offer since you and I started doing these. So happy to offer that too.
Well, folks, take that seriously, because about 2 months ago, Andy was on here talking to us about these extra fine $10 Liberty coins we had on for a special price because we got them in from an estate sale and all that. And I had to break the bad news to people who were late to that special week after week after week after that they did go like hotcakes. So I'm concerned the same thing's going to happen here on the San Francisco Mint 2021 Type 2 Silver Eagles by the box only.
No one will find that cheaper. Nobody will find that cheaper anywhere. And, I don't know. I just think all of the people who have been hanging with us for as long as they have, listening to what we have saying, I'd rather give them something special at a great price. You will not find that at a better price anywhere in North America. And, being in this business for 30 years, and being associated with the U.S. Mint as an authorized reseller has some perks, and I would just pass those on to your listeners, and I promise you they will go very fast. Once they're gone, I can't get any more. But remember, if you buy one of these mint boxes, do not open it. So because you want to keep it strapped. And so some people may not like that. Others will love that. So that's up to you. If you want single tubes of 2021 Type 2s, then you buy the regular Philadelphia, or West Point Mint rather, the regular West Point Mint that we have at $7.25. So the fact that they're at the same price is really, really an incentive to people to buy the mint box. But if you do not open it, because it will negate the S-Mint qualification that collectors down the road will, I think, supremely covet.
That's important. I mentioned throughout the years when people have asked me, does it make any difference if I open up my monster boxes that I buy my coins in and inspect them? I always tell them, no, we can always buy them back for the same price. It doesn't matter. We don't even ask you when you do a buyback if it's in a sealed box or not. But this is an exception, it sounds like, because you can only distinguish the San Francisco minted Silver Eagles by the sealed box.
Correct. That's exactly correct. And it's a special deal. It really is. So we're happy, really excited to offer them. I do hope to come back very soon with another special on $10 and $20 circulated liberties. I have been on a mission to find them, maybe even some fives. I'm hoping to come back next week because I really do think people need to realize that, all we hear nowadays is silver, 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 silver. And I'm a big silver bug. I really am. But I think we better not count gold out. So we're going to try to mix something special in real soon, maybe next week with gold. But until then, this is by far the best silver play that we've had to offer in the last 18 months.
Folks, if you don't want to miss a single episode with Andy Schectman or any of our guests, make sure you get on our mailing list. We've had people telling us that they're getting lack of notifications from YouTube or we're getting shadow banned or whatever. Just go to libertyandfinance.com. That's our homepage, libertyandfinance.com. Put your name and email address in, click submit, confirm. When you get a confirming email and you're in, you'll get our free newsletter for every single interview. It'll give all the descriptions and any links that are provided by our guests so you won't miss a single episode. It's all free. Make sure you don't delay. Do it now. libertyandfinance.com. Andy Schectman, CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals, as always, and on behalf of all of our viewers, thanks for joining us for this weekly market update.
Always great to see you, Don. Again, love to do another live stream with you one of these days and do some more Q&As. But until then, look forward to seeing you every Tuesday.
This is Dunnigan Kaiser, founder of Liberty and Finance. I'm now a licensed gold and silver broker for Miles Franklin. Call me directly for the physical gold and silver that you need at the best price with personalized private service from one of the oldest and best companies in the business. 31 years strong, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, 0 complaints, licensed and bonded for physical delivery, vault storage, or precious metals IRAs. Excellent prices, privacy, and confidentiality. Pay by check, money order, ACH, bank wire, or Bitcoin. Satisfaction guaranteed. For fastest service, just call 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 888-81-LIBERTY. And either I or one of my sons and fellow brokers will call you back as soon as we can and understand your needs.